Arkansas fans, may you now know the conflicted and torturous relationship you will have with John Calipari coached basketball teams, especially in March. After another gut-wrenching way to lose, let's discuss Pig Suey. Remember to subscribe to the channel. Click on this button below me. That way you'll get notified when we have new deep dives like this one. And when we go live on Sunday nights for Watch DA Live, make sure you are subscribed. A year ago, I talked about the departure, wearing the black hat, and being reviled as a villain in Lexington for Coach Calipari. Going and taking his ball in the conference to Arkansas. Well, Kentucky fans watched a really successful coach with a national championship wave goodbye to them, getting out before they got him. That was Cal getting out of town before the cavalry came to fire him. He knew time was running out. But Cal also probably had his pick of a couple of different places and chose to stay in conference. I'm sure there was a couple of different reasons to do so, but Cal doesn't mind wearing the black hat. Cal doesn't mind being the villain. And now you'll find out, Arkansas fans, why it's so hard to completely embrace him as a hero, even when he is coaching your team. Last night's game. Look, maybe it's house money. Arkansas was the 10 seed. Arkansas already knocked off a 2 seed in St. John's. Perhaps that was the win that you needed to feel good about this season and the future of Calipari in Fayetteville. But Arkansas had a 16-point lead. Arkansas had a 16-point lead over Texas Tech, a winnable, beatable foe, with 10 minutes to play, and found a way to lose. And more so when we go down to the final seconds of overtime, the fact that Cal will go to his grave after the 2025 postseason with a timeout in his back pocket without calling for a pause and a chance to collect themselves and draw up a play before a pretty errant, directionless final possession and shot for the Razorbacks that could have won the basketball game, leaves you once again with the void of Cal when it matters most. His coaching ability leaves plenty to be desired. So Arkansas fans are now going to have to wrestle with, was that a good season? I think it was. I mean, we were a 10 seed and made it all the way to the Sweet 16. That was good. Beating Patino, that was amazing. But the last vestige, the last feeling, the last vibe that we have of the season is blowing a 16-point lead and not calling a timeout to set up a final play. What's going on? Well, this is exactly the way the Kentucky fans wrestle with the legacy of John Calipari. Because when does he ever really leave you feeling completely confident and satisfied? You know, throughout his tenure at Kentucky, collected all of the lottery picks, all of the talent you could possibly acquire, and always said it was about the players, about the players, about the players. In fact, it was more about the players than it was about the program, more about the players' riches and wealth and lottery status than it was about March in many ways. Now, he was hoping the two would intersect, that by collecting the most talent, ultimately you'd finally hit bingo on something and win a national championship. And he did in 2012 with Anthony Davis. So you cannot take that away from him. He empowered the players to make it about them and eventually got the transcendental player, Anthony Davis, to win the title. But year after year, Kentucky fans got sick of hearing all about the players. They wanted to hear about the program. They wanted to hear about the wins and the tournament victories and ultimately the banners that you hang at the rafters of Rupp that are not regular season championships or even SEC tournament championships. It's Final Fours and national titles. And they only got one natty when he was there. And so when he scoots away to Arkansas, Kentucky fans are appreciative of a couple of Final Fours and a national championship banner that's not going to come down. At the same time, they're left with that, and he's going to go to Arkansas. And there are a couple of absolutely devastating losses that Kentucky had no business being in. I mean, the worst loss that Kentucky had under John Calipari was absolutely, undoubtedly the 2015 Final Four, where an undefeated season could have ended up as perhaps the greatest team ever, loses to Wisconsin in the Final Four, doesn't even make the national championship game, and a Badgers team that did not win the national title. So an undefeated season ends, not even losing to the team that would ultimately win the Natty. Also, look at the last couple of years in Lexington, and you will see why Kentucky fans, despite a championship and multiple Final Fours, said it might be time. The slide began in 2019 when, as a 2 seed, Kentucky lost to 5 seed Auburn in overtime in the Elite Eight. In 2022, they were a 2 seed and, lost to 15 seed St. Peter's. Remember that? Can you even remember where St. Peter's is located? Exactly. Jersey City, New Jersey, if you were wondering. And then last season, the final game that he coached in Lexington as a 3 seed, one and done again, this time to 14-seeded Oakland. Remember them? Jack Golke and company? Where is Oakland? Not California, Michigan. Never a good way to end your tenure, never a good way to end your season, losing to schools that we forget where they're actually located. Again, this kind of torturous, conflicted relationship that everybody has with Calipari wherever he has coached. Let's go back to Memphis. I mean, the loss that will sit with Tigers fans forever is the 2008 national championship game, where they had a late lead and Derrick Rose at the free throw line and missed free throws opened up the door for Mario Chalmers to tie it, and then ultimately Kansas to win in overtime. A national championship is this close. You can taste it. And blunders down the stretch, lack of execution in the final seconds and then in overtime lead to a soul-crushing loss. And then the following year, eligibility for Derrick Rose under question. The NCAA wipes away the entire year. All of those wins voided. Now, you may say that that's a silly relic of a bygone NCAA era, and maybe Derrick Rose's eligibility should have never been even pulled into question. At the same time, it's why everywhere he goes, you are left with the And we can even go back to UMass, where he culminated his tenure with the Minutemen with a trip to the Final Four, Marcus Camby and company in the Final Four, and then followed that up an appearance at the Meadowlands in East Rutherford by leaving for the team that played in that building, the New Jersey Nets. Yeah! How are Arkansas fans feeling today? My guess is, woo, pig suey! The perpetually conflicted nature of rooting for Calipari. That's going to do it. Thanks for watching, everybody. Remember, click on this button right next to me to subscribe to the channel. We appreciate you watching. We appreciate you watching Sunday nights on Watch DA Live right here. I'm DA. See you next time.